Okay, welcome to the part two video on teaching remotely. And this one's going to be detailing the extensions that I'm using for the Google Meet classes that I'm running. In particular, we're mostly going to be spending time on this one right here, which is called Google Meet Breakout Rooms. It does kind of have a learning curve to it. There's some YouTube videos and stuff in the actual comments down here, but I figured I would just summarize it more briefly for you so you can hop right into it. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is actually do this with you. So if you Google this extension, the Google Meet Breakout Rooms, all you need to do is click Add to Chrome, right? And obviously you need to be using Chrome in order to do this. Okay. And the other thing that you're going to need for this, you can see that it popped up our little bee in the corner. That's going to be one of our best friends. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click on my extensions and pin this one so that I have access to it. Okay. So again, what I did was I just clicked on the little puzzle piece and I clicked on the pin, right, and that allowed me to view it instead of it just being in the list. Okay. So in order for this extension to work, there's two things that have to be true. The first one is that you have to also download another extension which turns the Google Meet into a grid view. Okay, which you're going to want anyway so you can see all of your students. So if you type in grid view Google Meet, okay, you actually get two different options. The second one is the one that you want. That's the one that says Google Meet Grid View Fix. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. Okay, and I'm also going to add this to Chrome, and you can see what it does is it gives you a much larger window to see your students. Okay, so I'm going to click Add Extension. Okay, and that one gets added as well. I'm going to pin this one too because I want to make sure this one's on. If this is not on, it can cause issues with things like attendance and groups when we're using the breakout rooms. Okay, and that's all you need. These are the only two extensions that you need. So I'm going to close all of this stuff out. All right, there's no more need to be in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, this is one of my algebra classrooms. I'm going to click on the Meet link that my students can see. All right, this has been enabled. If it's your first time, you have to actually click Generate Link in order for this to pop up, but it'll get you a classroom link. Okay, so I'm going to start this. Okay, I'm going to turn off my camera and my microphone because I don't need to be on, and I'm going to join the room. Okay, so I'm currently in the classroom. Okay, there's one other extension which I'll talk about if I get a second, but that's not the main purpose here. Okay, so there's one more thing that you need to add to make a change to in actual Google Meet in order for this Breakout Rooms extension to work. And that is if you go down to the three dots, which are in the bottom right-hand corner for options, okay, you need to change the layout of your Google Meet, okay, and you can see that it's got an auto feature turned on. You want it to be in tiled display, okay? So if it's in any other of the views, right, if it's in sidebar or spotlight, then not all of the features of the breakout room extension will work. Okay, so make sure that you're in the tiled view, which is what I'm currently in. Okay, so that's all you need to do. This is now currently set up. Okay, we do need to now set up the actual breakout room extension. So I'm going to click on this this purple B. Okay, and it's going to bring up something that looks like this. Okay, this is your control panel. When you're teaching your students, okay, what I usually do is I will take my regular window and I'll make it a little smaller, okay, like this, okay, and then I'll put this one right next to it and kind of have them tiled, okay. And so this is your control panel. You'll be able to see your students on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, you have all of the controls, and you can see we have the ability to start new classes. So as you go from one class to another, you'll use this button right here. Okay, you can assign breakout rooms either randomly or pre-assigned, and then you can also do some muting and removing. And there are different reports you can do about the attendance one is the one that I use the most, but there are a couple of others. Okay, so what you have to do to start using this software is to first click on courses and add each of your courses. So you can see it says my course and then a description of the course. So I'm just going to call this one Algebra 2A period B. Okay, and then the description's less important, but I'll just call it period B. Okay. And then if I hit if I hit the add button at the top here, I can add a second class and I can say Algebra 2A period, I don't remember my E, I have one, right? So period E. And I can do this for each of my classes. I'm going to stop at 2 though, okay? So I'm going to add each of my classes, and then I'm going to click the save button, okay? If you don't hit save, it obviously will not save your work, okay? So I click save, okay? And then I'm going to, once I have all these done, change tabs, and I'm going to go to the Rooms tab, okay? What we want to do for each of our classes is set up how many rooms and what the rooms are that we want our students to go to. So I'm going to click on Rooms, okay? And at the top here, you can see this is currently for Algebra 2A period B, right? But I can use the drop down and change to period E if I want to, okay? But we're going to do period B because that's what we're in, okay? So if you notice, again, I have the same kind of setup with the buttons at the top here. I have a bunch of plus signs, so I'm going to hit this 6 times. Because typically what I found is that 6 breakout rooms is enough rooms that you can split the students up into small groups of 4 to 5. But it's not so many that that it's going to make your machine slow down. So 6 has been my magic number, so I'm going to create 6 rooms. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call them whatever I want. So let's be unoriginal and call them group 1 through 6. Okay, so 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so I have my 6 groups. Okay, and so what I need to do now is in this box that's next to the group names is I need to paste the Google Meet link for each of your rooms that you're going to use. Okay, so for the main room, that's going to be this one right here, right? You already clicked on this and joined the room. So if you just right click on this and copy the link address, okay, and then you're going to just paste that into the main room, and you can see that it changed color when it recognizes the URL. For the other groups, okay, here's the nice thing. You can actually just create a custom room name. So I could do something like, this one's going to be called Martin Algebra 1, okay, and then I'll do that for each of the other ones, and obviously again change the number. So I'll have a Martin Algebra 2, okay, Algebra 3, 4, 5, and 6, okay. So by doing this, what I'm doing is I'm creating what's called a lookup, right? So instead of actually creating a custom room, I'm basically saying anybody that clicks on this link that's called Martin Algebra 1 will all meet in the same classroom. So instead of being in, if you notice, all of these tend to have a random string of letters at the end of them. Instead of that, it's just going to be my custom Martin Algebra 1, and all of the students that click on the Martin Algebra 1 will show up in the same group, right? So that's all I need to do is to set it up like this. So I'm going to hit save, okay, and now I have for Algebra 1, or I'm sorry, for period B, I have my main classroom, and I have 6 different rooms, okay? I can then do the same thing for period E. I'm not going to do that here, but I can do that for each of my classes. If I want to have more or less breakout rooms for like a computer class versus versus an algebra class, I can make more or less rooms. Okay, so I'm going to then go back to period B. So these are my rooms. Okay, now I'm going to move to the Meet tab. Okay, this is the one you're going to be spending the most time in. After you set up your courses in your rooms, there's really no need to go to those anymore. Okay, so here's what you're going to do in your breakout room. So I'm going to close this window here, okay, and close all these windows because we don't need them. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is this is how I would run my class. You can see that I am currently logged into. You want to make sure that you're on your school account. Okay, I'm going to click Start Class. Okay, make sure that my course is selected. I want period B. Okay, and I'm going to do 6 breakout rooms. Right, so if you want to do less on any particular day for that class, you can, but I usually just do 6. And then I'm going to click the right-hand button here, which is Open/Sync Both. The first button will just open the main room. Okay, so it'll open up my main classroom's Google Meet link. This will only, middle one will only do the breakout rooms, but if I want to launch an entire class, I recommend opening all of the breakout rooms right at the beginning because you don't then have to have your students sitting around waiting. So right when my old class is over, I close Chrome, reopen this thing, and then I'm just going to click Open and Sync, okay? And it doesn't like something. You might be getting an error because you didn't log in using... Oh, okay. So what's going to happen here is because I'm not on a Google Suite, it's not allowing this, okay? So let's see what it does instead. So it opened up my main classroom, but it's not allowing the other one. So here's what I'm going to do. This is, if you're using Google Suite for schools, it will allow you to do this, but I'm just going to create a couple of random ones real quick. Let's see this, okay? So I'm going to create a new meeting, okay, and get a meeting link to share, okay? So I'm just going to create a bunch of these, and I'll change my courses to have those instead. But when you do yours, you can do, as long as your school uses the Google Enterprise Suite, you can use this lookup feature, but it doesn't allow me on my home account, okay? So I'm just going to post some random ones in here. Let's see if it'll allow me to do a new one. Okay, so I just have to do this a bunch of times, okay? So I'm going to just, for the sake of time, cut out these last 2, and maybe I'll just do 4, okay? So I'll do new, get a new link. Okay? So I'm doing this for each of my rooms, and I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, get a meet link to share. Okay, copy this one, and then I got 4 different rooms. I'm going to click save again to make sure that it's all set. Okay, and let's try this again. So I'm going to close. I'm going to go back to my Meet, and I'm going to open and sync both, and let's see if it likes this now. Okay, so mine's popping up on my second screen currently. Okay, and it's doing it in a tiled view, so it'll look something like this. Okay, and you can see that they're all kind of popping up. Okay, as I bring them in. Okay, and so you can do it like this if you want to view all of them. Right, I currently now have my main classroom at the top, and then I have group 1. Group 2 is actually this one down here. And then group 3 and 4 are opening currently. But you can see that it takes a second for them to all load, right? And now they're all loaded. Okay, so I'm currently sitting in each of these classrooms. Okay, I do have to join my main classroom. Okay. And so what I can do with this is I can control what's happening in each of these rooms now. Okay, so I'm currently set up to be in the main room. Okay, and what I can do is by clicking on this slider, okay, you can see that I'm switching now to group 1. And so that means that I'm in this window, and then I can do to group 2, which takes me down here, right? So this slider allows me to jump between my different breakout rooms, okay? And what I can do is if I turn on my mic, right now I just turned on the main room's mic, okay? And then if I click on the next group, you can see that now I'm in group 1, right? And there's actually a green icon at the top, which tells me that I am unmuted and listening in that room. So it unmuted me, and it also unmuted everyone else in the room. Currently, all of the other breakout rooms are muted, and the microphone and camera are muted in them as well. If I were to turn on my webcam, right, and click on this, right, you can see that it will turn on that, and then as I go to group 2, which is right below it, it mutes everything in group 1 and moves everything to group 2, right? So again, you can see the C for camera. I'm currently camera on. If I click camera off, that little C goes away. If I click microphone off, now I'm not speaking, but I can still hear my students in this room, right? And then if I click on this button again, now it turned off that as well. So this allows me to quickly just jump between the different classrooms, okay? If I want to speak to all of my rooms at the same time, like maybe I want to let them know that there's 5 minutes left in class and then we're going to come back to the main room. Okay, I'm going to click on the bottom one where it says broadcast to all breakout rooms. I can click on the microphone icon, and you can see that now I'm speaking and I'm unmuted in all of the rooms instead of just one. Okay, and this again, top icon is really your helpful friend. When that is green, that means that you're speaking, right? The X means that I'm currently not listening to them. But if I mute, you can see it turns back to red. And then I can also listen in all the classrooms at the same time. So you can see the little X went away in all of them. So now I'm just currently listening to all of the rooms just to kind of hear what the chatter is. Right, so that's the basic idea of these breakout rooms. I personally don't like this tiled view because I think it takes up too much space. So I'm going to close all of these one more time and show you one feature of this. Right, so I'll close this one out too. Okay, and so I can go back to my Chrome. Okay, oh, I got to open up Chrome again. Okay, there it is. Okay, and click on the breakout rooms button. Okay, and it's going to open up breakout rooms, which again, mine's for some reason doing on the other screen. Okay, and I'm going to open up all of my rooms. So I'm going to again click on Start Class. Okay, I'm going to click Open and Sync Breakout Rooms. But before I do that, I'm going to go to my settings, right? And I'm going to say that instead of tiles in separate windows, I'm going to change it to tabs. Okay, I'm going to set mine to no limit. Let it open as many tabs as it wants because I know it's only going to open 5. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my Meet now. And so now when I click Open and Sync Both, okay, here's my room. Okay, so instead of opening a bunch of different windows, it's just opening a bunch of different tabs on this window. So again, I'll kind of make this a little smaller, put my breakout room on the right over here. Okay, and there's my setup. Okay, so you can see that I'm currently joining each of the rooms, and if you notice, this says group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. If you don't have this extension, instead of saying group 1, it'll actually just show you this code at the top. So you know things are working well when it says group 1, group 2, whatever you called your groups. Okay, so now again, I'm in each of the rooms, and so I can start off, and you can see that now this is just kind of bumping me through each of the tabs. All right, so if I want to go to the main classroom, I'm in the main classroom. Okay, and then I can move over one, and now I'm just talking in group 1. And whatever setting you have for this slider, so if I turn on my microphone, you can see that my group 1 is currently green, which means I'm speaking and listening in group 1. Okay, but if I go to group 2, you can see that group 1 got muted and deafened, so I can't hear them, but now I'm in group 2, right? So you can use this to jump between the rooms and just see how the kids are doing, right? And what I usually tell them is, if you have a question and I'm not in your group and you want me to come into your group, just go into the main classroom, just type in the chat, hey, come to group 3, and then I can pop into group 3, right? So that's the kind of basic idea of this. Hey, that's how I run my classes. We'll do something in main, right? And then I'll generate a list of groups, which I'm about to show you, and then you can kind of have them working as in pairs, threes, fours, whatever you set up. Okay, so here are the other features. That's the main feature, is breaking them up into groups. Okay, so what I have left over is, if you notice, there's also something called assigned breakout rooms. Okay, so what you do with this feature, it's kind of tough because I'm the only person in the room. Okay, so it's tough to show this feature. Okay, so what you can see is that what I can do is, after all of my students join, okay, I'm going to have to click Open Sync Main Room. Okay, and when I do that, okay, all of my students are going to show up in this space right here. And then I can just click a button that says Assign randomly to breakout rooms, and it will assign them on the right-hand side. Okay, because I don't have any guinea pigs, I can't actually show this feature. But essentially what you're going to do is, when you create the classroom to start, you will be the only person in the room. Once all of your students join, which I usually do this sometime in the middle of class, give them a second to like log on and be working, and then you want to click Open Sync Main Room, okay? And then by doing that, okay, it's going to just go a quick refresh and tell you that the room has been synced, okay? And then it will populate all of your students onto this list, okay? There will be a button that says randomly assign. You'll randomly assign them to your groups, or you can just drag them over, right? And then what you're going to do is click where it says click here once you have your group assignments the way you want them, okay? And so you're going to copy. So this one says copy breakout room links. So I'm going to click here, okay? And then go into my main room chat, okay? Which I'm just going to use group 4 because my main room is not open, okay? I'm going to go into my main room chat, and I can paste, there are the group links. Okay, this is where each of the groups will go. And then if I click this second button, okay, and paste that into chat, okay, oh, I did the same one again, okay. It might actually, it's not going to copy anything because I don't have students. You click on the second one, this is where the students, what group they are in will be, right, and then you can paste that into the chat as well. So you can pre-assign them at the beginning of the year and say, hey, you're always going to be in group 1. But I like to randomly assign them so that they have the ability to talk to each other, get to know different people in the group. Okay, so again, in the assignment breakout rooms ad hoc, okay, you'll randomly assign them. Again, you might have to remove some people, and then you'll click here. First copy to get the breakout rooms. Second copy to get the actual assigned student list. Okay, here's a random side note. You are going to be on that list. So one of the groups will have you in it, and if you are joining the class multiple times, you will be in multiple groups, okay? You have the ability, which again I can't show here because there are no other students in the group. If you hover over one of the students in the grid, there is a feature that allows you to hide that participant. If you hide yourself and your presentation from the grid, okay, then you won't show up on the attendance lists and all that, okay? So you could also just have a small group. It's entirely up to you. But I just hide myself on the grid by hovering over my boxes, right, and clicking a button. And if you hover over it, it'll say a little minus sign that allows you to remove yourself from the classroom. Okay. Last feature that I'll show, okay, is in reports. Okay. If you click on reports, whatever students are in this list right here, you can also click participant attendance. Okay, and it will download an Excel spreadsheet that is time-stamped and dated with all of the students that are currently in your room. So it's a nice way to, if you're not able to take attendance right there and input it into whatever your management software is, you can click on that, and you'll just have a saved file that you can then go to later and assign. Okay, so again, this is a little bit more, it has a learning curve to it, and there's definitely some things that I had to figure out as I was going along, but once you get it all set up with the courses and the rooms, you're mainly just going to be in this screen, and it is very fluid and easy to use after you've kind of gotten used to it. So hopefully this will help you to break out your students into small groups and help them out with their online learning. Right? And again, if you have any questions about this, you can just post into the YouTube comments at the bottom, and I will look at them there.